Hey YouTube, this is Black Thought, where I ramble podcast style about a Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia topic. The topic for today is February 2021 JP Retro Part 1. I'm splitting these up because I couldn't get my thoughts together on Lufenia Plus, and I need to get this out. So I'm thinking about going forward, making it easier. I think I do a retro every 2 weeks instead of a whole month to make it more palatable, get the video out quicker, easier on me. Yeah, just all that. I usually get my initial takes on I get my hot takes on the content immediately when I do it, and then I look back, I'm like, was it different? And then I just go over a little bit more in depth. So I think split it into would be better for me and better for you guys. Anywho, like I usually say, these are my opinions. I give these takes in advance to get it out there and see how they age when the content comes back around to global. Always double check and do your own research, because I mess things up and I screw other stuff up constantly. And I have my own takes. I am fallible. I am wrong. I am human. Plenty of time, so always question. And on that note, please ask questions, leave comments, push back on me if you find it necessary. Before I continue though, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. Please share this video around and drop a comment about your observations. Only half of my viewers on average are subscribed, so if you want to help me out, please subscribe. Help get me up there, and hit the bell so you don't miss an upload, alright? And I always read the comments, so put what you want out there. Getting right into game changes. There's a lot that changed this month. First off, we got Burst Plus, and we got alongside it Black Nuggets and books. They are used to upgrade the burst. Now we can get 3 pages of skills, and you can use multiple burst finishers if you level a person's Burst Plus up all the way. And I think we get a half, I think it's kind of like Chaos, where we get half a burst book and 5 burst nuggets after a fight. We got enough to max and Burst Plus immediately in the first campaign, but now they turned it back down to a trickle. So if you want to Burst Plus someone, make sure you do it. Geo will be able to plan it out a little better. We went flying blind into this, obviously, in JP. We ate Lufenia Plus. In the next difficulty after Lufenia, it's in the 10k Brave, what's it called? Break bonus. It's more stats, stricter recasts. They're throwing on additional mechanics as well, such as turn jumping after a certain amount of turns, guaranteed threshold attacks, stuff like that. The beginning has definitely been annoying, but it's evening out at this moment. I'm recording this on March 21st of 2020. So yeah, I'm a bit late, like I said. JP hoarders are crying. Normal people are just pulling and pushing through per usual. Porum and Setzer have been MVPs in the beginning, so is Zagreus. I'll probably make a separate video on this, but I'm really trying to get my thoughts together, but this is nowhere near as bad as early Chaos or the Hell Month of Lufenia, so just chill, alright guys? Anyways, they uncapped these co-op shop tokens, which is good. It's like 99k now, so you can build up those a bit more. There's an LD shop now with paid tokens. I think it's 84 USD to get an LD token. Also, beating the Challenge Chaos gets you a win for the Chaos, and beating the Lufenia Plus gets you a win for the Lufenia. So you're saving a lot of time not going through content nearly twice. And the artifact missions have disappeared. There's no more artifact. You don't need the, I got this artifact. No, I mean, what's it called? The limited time buy this character's artifact, that is gone, but I think they padded that into the rewards you normally get, so that's cool as well. And yeah, I think that's about it. And what hasn't changed is JP still doesn't have sort by 2x experience points, does not have sort by points to master for summon boards, and there's no abyss, no hunts. I think that's all I can really complain about compared to GL. For the first event of the month, we got Divine Pandemonium. Zidane got his rework, LD, and burst. His rework gives him, I think it's multiple HP. I'm not going to get into specifics, that wastes time. Multiple HP attacks on both the skills, looking real decent. His LD gives him an overhead that gives him some buffs, but the main one is being able to delete turns on break. And after he does get a break, he gets a consecutive turn. He cannot break twice in a, he can't re-break, he cannot steal turns twice in a row, that's it. But you can turn manipulate with the C65 potentially. He's also a speedster, so he can, even if he doesn't consecutively break again, he can just steal another turn and then break it again. His LD re-breaks, and yeah, he got the goods. And his Burst Plus is okay, I don't remember the name, but it gives a pretty neat effect. It's got Brave and HP damage up, especially against debuff targets. Zidane also gets a heal when he debuffs a target. It's just, and some crazy battery. He got a bunch of utility, so he's real good now. Alongside that, Ishtola got a Burst Plus and LD board rework. Her Burst Plus, she has way more damage. Her LD board, her LD board rework, I should say. She got way more auras, and her Burst Plus got extended. Her Burst Plus made it so that she gets a big Brave gain up, I think it is. Well, but now Y'shtola is finally like functional. her LD board, her LD attack now gets her an instant turn, and after the re-break, it puts her straight to 3 stacks of the overhead, and she her arrow attacks are actually better now than stone, like not like they used to be. So you want to use those as well, and I think they battery the party as well. On top of that, this is loaded. Renoa got her LD boards finally, and she got an 80. And I don't know exactly what she got. She's probably the least impactful of the 4, but her Brave and HP attacks are better now. Yeah, that's really all I know. Again, I don't ever know. This is probably what I don't remember. And you can look it up. I'm just giving my impressions. And Beatrix LD boards, who I think is the hidden MVP here. Beatrix got a lot. First off, her follow-up now splashes, which is really good. It has more hits, and it not only does it happen as a follow-up, it also happens as a counter. So it's kind of Gao style, where if she gets hit, or anybody in the party gets hit, I should say, then she does her Rose Petal follow-up, and it still dispels no matter what. And the debuff doesn't need to be up in order for her to counter, which is amazing. On top of that, I think it's her EX buff, or is it her skill 2 buff, Thunder Slash? Anyways, she gets a self Thunder enchant, so everything she does is Thunder. The debuff on her LD also has a Brave damage up and Thunder enchant, so she's hitting weakness on everything on her follow-up and on her skills. So that's fantastic. So she's hitting a lot harder. She just got a lot of good stuff. She's been an MVP for me. That ignore defense, now the bosses are buffing their defense again, is really, really good. Impressions on the units as a whole. Zidane, all that utility for him is stellar. He's the best deleter now. He's got so many deletes, it's insane tournament. He deletes on top of speed down, and then he has good damage on top of that. Very good. Y'shtola's super good. They buffed her auras, and especially having Brave gain up when Lufenia Plus is so much Brave gain reduction. She went from kind of mid to really being an MVP. Beatrix is fire with the off-turn damage. She got a great buff. Renoa is probably, like I said, probably the least impactful of the bunch, but she's still got good upgrades. And anyone who likes her can do good with her again. As for investments, I pulled Zidane's LD, went to Pity, but I did get his burst, so that's really good. And then I burst plus him, blew his armor, all that good stuff. I don't have Y'shtola's burst, and I didn't want to chase it because who knows what was coming with this new difficulty, so I just pulled back. Only thing I used her on was the challenge quest, so but she's been putting in work like crazy. Both these characters have been putting in work. They are staying relevant. They got very good upgrades. The Lufenia Plus, it's a Divine Panda, and the orb was +1 when attacking the enemy and buffing in 1 turn, and it's a +10 on turn delete. So Zidane was the obvious solution here. The stage was bugged on release. The bottom of the stage, it was like real flickery, and it was like an epilepsy warning. So that was pretty messy. And it has a aura that stops your Brave gain when the wind is around and until its turn is deleted. The ads are dangerous, but Zidane can fortunately trivialize it by not letting the dude get a turn and just deleting him like mad. You just had to manage your HP and stuff. Yeah, like I said, Zidane obviously MVP, but you didn't need him for it. It can be done without Zidane. You can just bring a friend of Zidane and kind of turn it up like crazy. I think Ami was used here potentially. I don't think I've seen an Ultimacia run because she's pretty dated alongside her damage. And I have seen the no Zidane party run, the main party one specifically. I think it was with Tidus Burst, Paladin Cecil, and Jack. And it hit the whole buff on your turn thing, and then it kept turn manipulating like crazy, using Jack's debuff and Tidus' DPS, and they were able to stop it. So this fight is on, and that's kind of the theme for a lot of these fights. Most of them are restrictive, and it is a rough start, but it's not the end of the world. All right. Otherwise, some other things to note about this event: there was a Chaos co-op, thank God, and they bundled it with the New Year's event. It was weird. The same synergy as Pandemonium, so there wasn't a direct co-op for the Pandemonium, but it was this New Year's co-op, and you could just delete this thing in a few turns thanks to Burst Plus. We had a crazy amount of extra resources. It was a great way to farm gold artifact orbs and all that good stuff. It had its own challenge as well, so you could potentially get 2 burst tokens from the Divine Panda challenge and the New Year's challenge. It was a Kraken and a thing with the skull that buffs itself. It was a total joke, but we could farm 600 armor tokens and a bunch of tickets. It had otherwise insane rewards. Good stuff, Square. Shout out to that anniversary. For the farm on the actual boards, I was able to do full auto plus with Zidane, Y'shtola, and Beatrix. No interaction required. Pretty smooth farm as well. Pretty happy with this event. Good stuff. Next up, we have Guy's Lost Chapter. Sync is the focus here. She got a rework and an LD. Might as well call it Sync's Lost Chapter. Sync got a rework. She has multiple HP attacks on her skills. And she got an LD where she does a lot of damage. And she gets a follow-up after doing an attack that I think it delays. I don't know exactly how she works, but she has an HP damage up debuff. I think it's stacking and it goes down every time someone does an attack. The fact that she delays kind of goes, it accounts for the fact that she delays herself, so it allows her to do better damage. It's pretty nice. As for and Guy only got high armor. He's dead on arrival. Sorry, sorry Guy fans. He's down horrendous. As for investments, I skipped the hell out of this banner. I already have Guy, and I'm not interested in Sync. She's the worst girl in Type 0. Don't at me. Guy is definitely dead on arrival. Sync got the goods. She's still weird, but she has a ton of damage and a ton of great debuffs. So definitely some value there. Great delayer, and again, HP damage up. And I think she has a defense down in there somewhere as well. I don't know exactly. Look it up. But yeah, not for me. Especially that Talent's Kiki. Ugh. Anyways, the Lufenia Plus was a +1 for Earth, which if you could have Guys sit there, he could help you maintain the orb, I guess. And it was +5 if HP damage was taken with an HP damage up debuff. This fight was Imperil immune, so rip Beatrix Kurosame along with others. However, what you could do is you could just use Gabron's LD call, or just Gabron's call in general, keep it up the entire fight and blow him up. So this orb was pretty easy to maintain. It just felt like kind of garbage because the reductions, and if you didn't bring some of the band-aids like Poor Armor Setzer, it kind of felt rough to adjust. It just wasn't that fun to play, but it wasn't a hard fight. It just felt kind of bad. Otherwise, it was just the normal Guy fight, and you could just get through it fine. Anyways, in the middle of all this, in the middle between Guy's event and and Reigns' event, Aphmau got a campaign event. She got an 80 high armor support one, and they reran Tifa as well. It's the second LD. Aphmau got an interesting LD. She got some buffs. I don't remember exactly what these buffs were, but they were solid buffs to her. And her LD is very interesting in that she becomes an even better puppet master. She kind of got turn swap. It's kind of like the Eldnarsh effect, but for the party. It's hard to explain, but basically she selects a target, she does her LD attack, and it puts a buff on some party member, and after Aphmau goes, they go as well. And it has an EX charge up, so your recast stays the same. So it's like every time Aphmau acts, she yoinks whoever she targeted forward, and then they can do an attack. And it's a free turn, I believe, as well. So it's pretty useful, especially and it works very well with the synergy character for Sync, because Sync will delay herself and she'll delay the enemy at the same time, and then Aphmau can just bring them back forward and then let them do what they want. Pretty cool. She was synergy for Sync. Jesus. She was synergy for Guy's Lost Chapter and synergy for Reigns' event as well, so you can farm her there. Tifa rerun is nice, but if you skip Tifa for this banner, you're tripping. That's a big mistake. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't. I pulled Aphmau. I didn't give her high armor because I'm running low on those recently because I'm an idiot. She also got HP damage reduction. That's another thing, yeah. She got so much, but she didn't get. I don't think she got Party Brave or HP damage ups, except for the person who gets the buff. She's very abusable with characters who are kind of slow and who benefit from taking turns and denying bosses, like Sync and Reigns, like I said. So yeah, and there's no content tied to her. It's just something to keep in mind. But good character, good upgrades. More niche now, but interesting. I don't know. Now for probably the silliest character of this month, probably the most broken one, the one's going to get hyped the hardest. We have Sid Reigns, who no one cared about until he was broken. Then he was everybody's favorite character. Reigns is interesting. He has a party cleanse and enemy full dispel on his EX. Every move he does launches, and he's in a weird spot where a lot of his damage comes from his launches, but it's because after each launch he initiates, and it's only he initiates them. So he'll do a follow-up, and I think it's 3 HP attacks in midair. So yeah, a lot of potential damage. Very, very strange character. He's got turn manipulation. He can drag someone on the other team forward next to him with his LD and skill 2, I believe it is. Very just silly character. And Mog returned with high armor plus on this banner, and it's a good opportunity to nab Mog if you originally skipped, and I imagine Mog will be relatively not popular in global except for the hardcore Final Fantasy VI fans. Anywho, I pulled on this banner. I got him. I didn't get Mog's LD, and that's fine. He doesn't hit terribly hard, but that's an easy problem to fix with Setzer or other buffers. Ezna and Dispel on top of that is nice for lore, and it's just a nice addition that they really didn't need to do, but they did anyways. And he looks cool as well. Nice voice lines. I think he shares a voice out to a Trey and Thancred, so that's pretty tough. Unfortunately, his Lufenia Plus was hot garbage. This is probably the worst fight of this month, and easily the most restrictive. It was a Sanctuary Keeper reskin, and it was a +8 when you do 250k in a launch in midair. So it wasn't just the launch total, like when you send them in the air, you had to do that much damage while you were already in the air, which is pretty hard to do without range and some good setup. It is possible to do it without range, but I think you needed Lael's burst to potentially do it without range. Otherwise it was very sketchy, and it's just +1 when you launch in general. So yeah, very, 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 very restrictive fight. This fight was complete garbage. It had 70% HP damage reduction on the ground, I think, which is stupid. And it starts with a 400k HP damage shield you need to burn through, and it has threshold-based debuffs. The popular strategy here was to do Aphmau plus Rain, so avoid the debuffs, and you give Rains a million turns, and then you never see the boss do anything. It's pretty sleepy, honestly. Not a big fan. I ran Yuna, Aphmau, and Rains here. No shame in my game, but yeah, probably this is probably analogous to the Ultimecia event Chaos. If you weren't around then, look up some videos there. It was near impossible without Ultimecia. There were some limited comps that could do it, but otherwise the fight is just extremely stupid. This probably set the fear mongering about Lufenia Plus into motion. And definitely an objectively garbage fight. And that's the first half of the month. We're cutting it off here, but I'm gonna do that just for my sanity and you guys, so I don't keep this video too long and I get it out quicker. Overall impressions for this burst cycle: Zidane is good. I slightly regret burst plussing him because I don't like turn denial stuff, and I love Zidane. I love his burst music, but I kind of regret going all the way on him. His effect is good, but it's just not quite for me. So when it runs around the global, at best I'd probably just 0 to 3 him if I get his burst, but I wouldn't chase it personally. Guy feels bad. Oh yeah, Ishtola, I wish I had her because she's been just stonks like crazy with her Brave Gain up auras and just massive buffs. She's been very, very valuable. If I had to decide between plussing Ishtola and plussing Zidane, it'd be Ishtola all the way, objectively. Beatrix got really good upgrades. I didn't care for Renoa. Rip Guy, Sync got some goods as well, but she's not terribly popular, so I can't see her getting hyped. What else? Who am I forgetting? Oh, Aphmau. I don't think I pull for her again just because I don't really like turn manipulation shenanigans. Rains is pretty overpowered, but I haven't used him in a single thing since I got him besides just Lufenia, because again, I don't like the turn manipulation and launch stuff. It's just not for me, but he's a really good character. And I didn't use any of the Lufenia Plus band-aids. I'll use Agrius, who's a slight band-aid, but I didn't use Porum or Setzer at all. I actually didn't have Porum until I got her LD on we had I think I forgot to mention this. We had a banner with all the LDs on it. Would it have felt better to use them? Maybe. Did I really want to use them though? Not exactly. So it is possible to get through this stuff without Porum or Setzer, so don't feel like you need them. However, if you want an easier time, there are definitely some MVPs Agrius too. I did use Agrius on I don't think I mentioned the fights I ran either. I screwed up. For Panda, I used, what was it? Agrius, Yuna, and Zidane, and then for Guy slot chapter, I used also Zidane, Agrius, and Yuna, and that worked out. And then Yuna, Rains, Aphmau for that event. Yeah, it'll be okay, guys. The only really restrictive fight here was Rains' event. Otherwise, looking back, the fights weren't. There's still some flexibility to be had in these fights. It just didn't feel good seeing your reductions drop. The bosses went ahead of us. They leapfrogged ahead of us, and now the bosses are coming. And now the units are starting to come back. So that's about it. This part, I'll get out part 2 sooner rather than later. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me what you think down in the comments about this new format. And that's about it. Catch you guys later. Peace.